From the campus of Marshall University in Huntington, West Virginia. West Virginia's college news leader, the W. Page Pitt School of Journalism and Mass Communications. This is MU Report.
Marshall University's new president. It is official. That's our top story in a moment. Meantime, good afternoon. I'm Elena Conard.
And I'm Cassell Lim. Welcome to MU Report, our second statewide show of the fall 2016 school term. We are glad you're joining us here on West Virginia Public Broadcasting. Now, as promised, our top story.
After several months on the job, Marshall University's new president is finally getting a ceremony befitting his title. The week-long event is called an investiture, an unusual word, and Chantel Foster joins us now to tell us about it. Chantel?
Most people haven't heard that term either, but it means to formally invest Dr. Jerome Gilbert with the honor or rank, which makes sense. The celebration culminated with an event in front of the John Marshall statue. Gilbert says he wants to increase student enrollment to more than 18,000 in the coming years. He says another goal is increasing pay at Marshall to attract and keep teachers and staff. And he says he wants to catch up faster in the trend toward more and more online offerings for courses under the Marshall umbrella.
We know we will succeed. We are not fearful of failing. We are destined for greatness. We are the sons and daughters of Marshall.
Gilbert says the way to make those lofty words happen is to take on West Virginia's education and money troubles with optimism and a clear head. And it's sort of funny, Cassell, Elena, Dr. Gilbert is a practical man, and so it wasn't long after the celebration that he and everyone else got back to work.
Another job of college student president is fundraising. In fact, many say sometimes it's job one. But job two may be saying thank you when fundraising succeeds. That's why Thank a Donor Day is important, especially when donors hear exactly how they've helped.
It is the fourth year Marshall University organizes the Thank a Donor Days, a two-day event where recipients of different funds sponsored by individuals, companies, and organizations take this as an opportunity to show their appreciation to the donors.
I got the E.H. Long Scholarship and the Foundation General Scholarship, and they're the reason that I can come back to Marshall and continue my education.
With the state's budget decreasing and giving less to higher education, a good way of keeping tuition fees down might be having private companies or people sponsoring scholarships. Each year, about 900 to 1,000 students receive scholarships from different funds sponsored by over 1,000 donors.
We're able to go back to the donors and talk about how thankful our students are. We're able to show that from activities like today. And then they say, you know, I want to help a student be able to bridge that gap by starting a scholarship.
Davis said students who get in-state promised scholarships still isn't able to meet the entire cost of tuition, and the only way they can make up the difference is through private dollars.
Oh gosh, I mean, it is the difference between having students come here in the first place, and it's the difference between having students stay. And it's the private scholarships that these donors make available that make the difference between us being able to retain our students and being able to bring students on campus initially.
I got the Masonic Scholarship, and it's helped me actually, because if not, I was going to take loan outs. So this way I actually was able to go to Marshall.
Thank a Donor Days is a great message to go back to the donors with, and that is these private scholarships really bridge the gap for a student.
The cost of a college education is increasingly out of reach, which is why private donors have become important to the success of so many students here at Marshall.
This next story could be the most significant, unnoticed event for students of the entire school term. Look closely at your syllabi. It's difficult to spot, but there's another week of school hiding in there that was not there last fall. As Samantha Godby reports, the university changed the calendar to make both the fall and spring terms equal.
The air on campus smells the same as it always does this time of year. The sounds are the same. The look is the same. But what can't be seen by the naked eye is a keen difference between this year's fall semester and all those previous.
I did not know that.
Someone had told me that they either made it longer, I think.
This year, the fall semester has been extended by 1 week to a total of 16 weeks.
Okay, so they want to just make it even?
Now that the fall and spring semesters have been equalized, some say it was a long time coming change that just makes sense.
It seems like it makes more sense.
Another week worth of money.
I mean, I wish it was a week shorter, just so you could have one less week, but at the same time, it'll probably be a good thing.
This extension of the fall semester went widely unnoticed by students. However, if you take a look at your fall syllabus, you'll notice an extra week of winter classes before Christmas break. Samantha Godby, MU Report.
Now, in case you're still letting that sink in, one more time, the calendar change means a full extra week of class after Thanksgiving break.
The academic calendar can certainly be confusing, but when it comes to the matters of state and federal courts, many students may simply be unaware. That's why Marshall University, which is named after the 4th Chief Justice of the United States, hosts a West Virginia Supreme Court visit every year. Tom Jenkins explained how the judicial branch held court in Huntington.
When students think about government, the proceedings of the Supreme Court of Appeals probably goes overlooked. For Marshall University and local high school students, they were able to observe a day in the West Virginia Supreme Court.
It was really interesting. Law is a very intricate process, and I didn't realize how serious they really took it until I was actually here in person.
The Supreme Court says this event is meant to teach students about the judicial system and help students gain a more realistic understanding of the courts in West Virginia.
Well, they need to learn how the justice system works, and there's nothing better than seeing it in person, because what you see on TV is not how the justice system works.
I think it certainly exposes someone to the court system. You would be surprised. I taught a class years ago at another university, and the number of students who maybe even have a confusion about the 3 branches of government.
Students sat and watched the 3 court cases where defense attorneys and prosecuting attorneys pleaded their case to the Court of Appeals. Each case was selected by the Supreme Court to grab the attention of the student.
I mean, I don't think students will be interested in hearing the appeal of a case over a deed. So we picked in this week, we picked a case involving license revocation of a driver and a kidnapping and a murder case.
Although they have a long way to becoming a lawyer or even a Supreme Court justice, students say that after today, that they may see a future in the judicial system.
I think it would definitely be an interesting occupation to be like a lawyer or even a chief justice or moving up along those lines. It'd be really interesting, and I think you have to be a very strong-minded, not easily bothered person to be able to do it. So
the Supreme Court of Appeals comes to Marshall every other year to not only educate students, but to celebrate Constitution Week. Tom Jenkins, MU Report.
Switching gears just a bit, there's nothing like the joy of children to draw attention away from difficult problems facing communities. Marshall is helping some children learn to solve such problems through education. Rebecca Turnbull has more on how these unlikely heroes are opening up a new chapter for the region.
Marshall University is making big changes to the community through its smallest citizens. Marshall's College of Education marched nearly 200 elementary students from 6 different schools into the Marshall Rec Center and armed them with the power to read during Super Day, an effort to help them achieve better, more successful lives through learning.
Basically, the way out of problems is through education. And as we make sure that our students are good readers from the beginning, they can take advantage of a lot of opportunities that won't be open to them if they're not able to read and don't enjoy reading.
Middle and high school students passed on their love for learning by reading with their younger peers. Some of them say they realize that showing off a simple short book can go a long way.
They can pay attention more in class, they can get a better education for it. They not only will be dazed over it if they're not thinking it's a fun thing to do, they'll be more confused than they have been.
To help the children understand the importance of education, special guest President Jerry Gilbert stopped by to pick up a book and share his own passion for reading.
Books are ways to expand the mind and really show them things that they wouldn't see otherwise. So I think it's a great opportunity for Marshall to reach out.
Vendors and supporters from all across the state made sure each student went home with free reading resources and a fun start to making their lives one for the books. Rebecca Turnbull, MU Report.
Marshall's College of Education will be collecting books on campus this fall for flood-damaged libraries. Book donation sites will be set up around campus in the next few weeks. And MU Report will be right back after this break.
The William Page Pitt School of Journalism and Mass Communications has been a part of Marshall University's history since 1926. Today, the school offers 7 degree programs including advertising, radio and television production, sports reporting, public relations, and broadcast, online, and print journalism. SOJMC prepares students for the opportunities and challenges of the industry. Professional-oriented courses as well as hands-on learning environments help students gather real-world experience before stepping out into their field of choice.
And welcome back to MU Report. Another outreach here at Marshall helps the community in a different way. Breon Taylor reports on what's called a Thundering Surf, which is a student-led effort to help the less fortunate.
It may seem odd to have a dump truck drop potatoes here on Buskirk Field, but this is a part of a larger community service outreach.
So this potato drop is what we're going to call it, is a part of Marshall University's Thundering Serve, which is just the student body's commitment to impact the community through philanthropic projects.
Best thing about this event is the fact that we're helping out the local food bank. I love donating to food banks and I love doing stuff.
It's called the Thundering Serve. It's a part of a yearly project to better help the parts of Huntington community in need.
But it's all for a good cause, and it's pretty hot, but it's worth it.
Nothing gets students more pumped than helping their community.
This is a potato like fire brigade kind of line that we've got going on here. I don't know if this was spontaneous or if someone started this. It's spontaneous. It's fantastic.
Why do potatoes make good detectives? Because they keep their eyes peeled.
Some say potato, some say potato, but in the end, they're packed and ready to go help their community. Breon Taylor, MU Report.
And while we were on a roll about giving back, the Thundering Herd football team did its own form of community service in the Akron matchup recently. The team wore special stickers on their helmets to highlight flood relief efforts in West Virginia.
When Marshall took the field on Saturday against Akron, they weren't just playing for themselves or the fans. They were playing for the victims of the flood in West Virginia.
This was an idea we came up with this summer. A lot of teams in the country already put their state on the back of the helmet, but with everything that went on with the state, with the flooding and all the destruction and all the teams that have lost their stuff and families who have lost their stuff, we thought this would be a perfect opportunity to show them how much they're in our thoughts still.
The sticker may be small, but the athletic department says its impact is much bigger.
I think it's a very subtle way for our guys, especially our football team, to go out on that field on Saturday and know that, you know, all 110 of those guys are still thinking about those individuals, and that we'll continue to do whatever we can to help.
And help is what Southern West Virginia still needs. Athletic Director Mike Hamrick grew up in Clendenin, West Virginia. His father says he still feels connected to their home place.
7 years as the coach at Herbert Hoover and 18 years as a principal up Elk River. Clendenin was just simply devastated, and anybody that showed any support, there were thousands of them, were really appreciated.
Players and coaches say the team's support for flood victims shows how a scoreboard doesn't always reveal the true winner. Flooding this summer not only wiped out high school sports teams, but more critically, entire communities.
And that's all the time we have today for this early fall edition of MU Report. Remember, you can catch this program every 2 weeks on West Virginia Public Broadcasting, and it will re-air Monday at 1. But we are always on YouTube, and we are always looking for news that affects the Marshall community. Our advisor is Dr. Chris Swindell, and you can contact him at swindell@marshall.edu. Thanks for watching. I'm Kasalim.
And I'm Elena Conard. Have a great day.